Welcome to All Things Greater Burlington, where you will hear from the movers, shakers, and changemakers that are moving Greater Burlington forward. Here is your host, Stephen Brody.
Welcome to All Things Greater Burlington. It's a pleasure to have with me today Nicole Farrier, branch manager for Great Western Supply here in Burlington. And I was over at Great Western Supply recently at a not so much a ribbon cutting, but I guess it was like a grand opening celebration that they had with demonstrations and just a lot of goodwill that was going on. I was very impressed with everything that takes place there. And so I thought it'd be wonderful to have Nicole come in and share with the listeners all things Great Western Supply. So Nicole, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Stephen. I appreciate the time here.
No problem. So why don't we begin with letting us know what is Great Western Supply and what services do you provide?
At Great Western Supply, we contract with building service managers. That could be the custodian, that could be the owner. Anybody who's responsible for the disinfection and the cleanliness of that facility. Public space, so we do commercial and residential. So our primary clients would consist of schools, hospitals, clinics, churches, bars, restaurants, food processors. Sound like any businesses we might have here in Burlington?
Just a few, I think. Yeah, very, very wide ranging.
And so we bring the disinfection and janitorial cleanliness expertise to the table.
Okay.
So anywhere you go, you can point and click, or you can walk into a box store and you can buy supplies such as towels, tissue, toilet paper, can liners, soaps, sanitizers, and all the other things that a janitor or a building custodian might touch. Mm-hmm. But how to use those things and the chemistry of cleaning is what we bring as far as a service aspect to the community. So we answer the questions of what is this smell and how do I get rid of it? Where did the stain come from? How do I get rid of it?
Okay.
And so that's the expertise that we bring to the table with the supplies.
Okay. And how long has Great Western Supply been in this area?
Stephen, this is a great question. So Great Western Supply has been around since 1926, but there's a little history here.
Okay.
You came to our grand opening, which was at our location at 701 South Roosevelt. We'd been there for about a year. Great Western purchased the former Ebert Supply, which was downtown at the bottom of Snake Alley.
Okay.
So Ebert Supply has a rich Burlington history. They had been here for over 100 years. They started out as something a little different and then over time evolved into the janitorial supplies. A family-owned company. And you'll notice if you spend any time with me, I am a sucker for small business and family-owned, right?
Great.
And so the partnership came when Colin Carney, there's also a history in Burlington there, he owns Great Western. Well, his father, Wayne Carney, owned Burlington Paper downtown. And so Wayne was also at our grand opening. So he was able to make some connections and revisit some folks that he knew from here in Burlington. So the Carneys have been in Burlington in years past. In fact, Colin graduated Burlington Community Schools. Then he moved up to Davenport, and Great Western became more of a thing in Davenport.
Okay.
And so when the opportunity to purchase Ebert Supply and continue down here in Burlington with this satellite location, it was just such a perfect fit. And to bring the business back to Burlington where it had started.
Yeah.
So that's a very long answer from 1926 up, but that's how we went from Ebert's to Great Western and how the families tied together.
A very rich history in this area. And it's always nice to be able to promote businesses like that are so connected to the community here. And then how did you get associated with Great Western Supply, or were you with Ebert and then with Great Western?
So I was not. I was not with Ebert's. And let me tell you how the story did not go.
Oh, did not go. Okay.
I did not wake up one morning and say, I want to sell toilet paper in a pandemic.
Really?
Didn't happen that way. So Colin Carney and I knew each other when I ran a foundry over in Fairfield. We were an aluminum casting company. And we went to a group called C12. It's an organization, a networking group for Christian business leaders.
Okay.
And so we had known each other and stayed in contact from our involvement within that networking group. And so he called me a little over a year ago, and he said, hey, I want to buy this business in Burlington. And actually, the opening in that conversation was, how far away from Burlington do you live? And I just picked up the phone. I said, well, hi, Colin. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
And so I'm close to Burlington. I have family here. And so being in New London, and we do a lot of business here in Burlington, this is where my family is. And so I was close. And here's the phrase that did it for me. He said, well, when I buy this company, I want to bring the current employees. There's 3 of them, but we got to grow. But right now, they're in a lot of small niche cultural businesses, and that's great. But we need to get into the schools and the food service, and we need to grow the company and really do more of what Great Western is about when we do this transition and modernize. And so just bringing some of the new janitorial supplies down here, the new technologies of cleaning, that needed to happen. And he knew that my leadership experience over at the foundry, my lean manufacturing background, that would be an asset here. And but the phrase that did it was, I'm bringing the employees, I'm keeping them. We want to grow everything.
Yeah.
And we want to do it right here where I'm based from. And so that was what sold it for me. That's how I came to the janitorial world. And then I just fell in love with the people.
Mm-hmm. You brought up an interesting point earlier about, yes, people can just go to the store and they can buy supplies, but you bring something more to the table. So can you talk about that for a moment? Because I'm fascinated with, what is a situation that would occur or something where that by having the services of Great Western Supply would distinguish from just going to a local store, a big box store, and getting something similar?
Absolutely. Okay, so first of all, here's what people are going to ask first. Well, how much more do you cost? How much more do you cost than Walmart, Staples, Costco, Sam's Club? And the truth is, we have penciled this out with client after client. And when you compare us to Costco and Sam's Club, we're within pennies. We're a few pennies lower on some items. We're a few pennies higher on some items.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense to shop local from a cost standpoint.
Sure.
So let's take that off the table, because that question's going to be in everyone's mind. Well, how much more does it cost?
Right.
It doesn't cost more. And then it comes to the expertise, how to do it right. And this is what I like to educate our buyers on. When you hear marketing talk to you, when you listen to radio ads, when you listen to commercials, you hear that you need a cleaning product for every surface. You need a glass cleaner and a wood cleaner and a floor cleaner and a carpet cleaner. And then you have to have your disinfectant and your sanitizer, and you have all these things. Cleaning can be much more simple than that. So my waste reduction background comes into play here, where we try to consolidate the different products that you would use down to a good fit product for your facility that's safe for your surfaces, that's safe for the people in the building. Do you have pets? Do you have children? Who's touching the surface? And those are things that you don't get when you purchase it off the shelf, right? That's a residential grade quality product that you're not being shown how to use properly. And so one, you could be wasting, you could be overusing, underusing, and maybe not properly. So that's some of that expertise that we get. Mm-hmm. Doing it right the first time. Yeah. That would be another point that I would raise. When it comes to stains and treating things like that, when you try XYZ formula, ABC formula, and then you come and ask the question, well, now we have so much chemistry involved, it's really hard to bring that back to neutral. And I don't want to go total nerd status here and get into the chemistry of cleaning, but that's what you get.
Yeah. So are you saying that there are products that you can use that will handle a variety of issues? Like you were saying, you buy this and this and this and this. So does your expertise come in and say, instead of needing 5 products, maybe you only need 2, you only need 3 to accomplish what you want to do?
That is absolutely what we do. And so that simplifies the process, and it simplifies the buying. So it makes the whole thing your whole building easier to manage. And especially when turnover rates with employees that are doing the cleaning are so big. And that's another asset we provide, Stephen, that I didn't even mention. We provide free training.
Okay.
And so we can go on site. We can even provide certifications, bloodborne pathogens, HAZCOM. These are some of the trainings that we provide at no cost if you're utilizing our product services.
Right. With COVID, how did that change operations? How did that change your focus on what you were doing?
Well, luckily, I came in after COVID because I would have a little more gray hair had I been here. Fun fact, Great Western Supply did not run out of toilet paper during the COVID hysteria.
Woo-woo.
Yeah. Now, our owner might have worked 70 hours a week, right?
To get it, yeah.
So let's break this down because I get this question a lot.
Yeah.
What happened with toilet paper and is it still a problem?
Okay.
All right.
Good question.
There are 3 major toilet paper manufacturers in the United States.
Okay.
That's it, 3. That would be Procter & Gamble, Kimberly-Clark, and Georgia Pacific.
Okay.
So underneath them come your brands. So Georgia Pacific, for example, would do Quilted Northern and Angel Soft. So all of your toilet paper is coming from these 3 big people.
Yeah.
And what happened during COVID, and I'm not going to get too deep into this because
Sure.
I'm not a psychologist and I'm not a social historian who can cover what happened behind the psychology of why people thought toilet paper, which is a non-life sustaining item, ranked right with the food crisis, right?
Yeah.
Can't get into that. But, knowing where it came from, we have 3 manufacturers.
Uh-huh.
And within toilet paper, you have 2 major markets. You have residential, what we use at home, our standard household rolls.
Mhm.
Then you have the commercial market, which is your public setting. These are the big rolls. They're big, narrow, almost see-through most of the time.
Yeah.
That's the commercial setting.
Probably 1-ply versus 2-ply.
Yeah. So that's the type of 2 different manufacturing processes for 2 different types.
Okay.
And these manufacturers were set up to mostly make the larger commercial grade toilet paper because that's where we used most of it. In fact, Georgia Pacific put out a fact that the average 2.6 person household uses 409 rolls of toilet paper in a year. But during the pandemic, that went up by 40% in each household.
Okay.
So now you have this shift from, okay, we're not using the commercial toilet paper anymore. We need more household toilet paper. And those manufacturers weren't ready for that. It was just a switch in what they had made. So think about it in terms of cheeseburgers and tofu. If you have a restaurant, drive-through that sells 1,000 cheeseburgers a day, but a vegan convention comes to town, and so when they normally sold 10 tofu burgers a day compared to their 1,000 cheeseburgers,
Yeah.
the vegan convention comes to town and now they sell 1,000 tofu burgers with
Yeah.
their 1,000 cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
Before too long, they didn't have enough tofu
Uh-huh.
because they weren't anticipating that.
Right.
And so toilet paper was kind of the same thing.
Uh-huh.
The manufacturers weren't ready for that. Then we had some other factors that came into play, getting raw materials, the shipping crisis of, the raw materials being stuck on barges,
Yeah.
getting here.
Yeah.
Then you have the workforce issue.
Yeah.
These paper manufacturers are facing the same thing that all of the businesses in Burlington feel too, bodies. Getting them to work, having them stay. So it's not a simple answer. There's not a one piece, this is what happened. There are so many factors that go into this.
There's a lot of moving parts that was involved with it. That none the least was the, lockdowns of people
Right.
being told that they needed to stay home and not do much. So I'm sure that is what contributed a lot to the run on the stores, thinking that they weren't going to be able to leave, right?
Absolutely. And so then it was that whole buying shift, what we needed, where we're going to use it. And it's a completely different product than what the manufacturers were geared for making.
Yeah. Well, now that we've come out of that and we're moving forward, how are you set? How's your supply? Because we hear about supply chain issues that are still affecting different industries. So how is that affecting your industry?
Well, at Great Western Supply, we've been prepared.
Okay.
I mentioned we didn't run out during the crisis. Can liners have become a thing that were tough for some of our competitors. They were running out of can liners. That didn't happen to us. Some of it is just smart business practices, and having that buying power and the fortitude to see market conditions coming. Yeah. Supply chain issues, we're not seeing a huge issue. It's like any business. You have to prepare for seasonality. You have to prepare for market fluctuations. And I think that, at Great Western, we are prepared to do that. And so we just don't see it as big as much of a concern as what maybe some of our competitors might, just because we're forward thinking, I guess.
I have to tell you, I really appreciate the involvement and the participation and partnership that you have had with the Greater Burlington Partnership and the Chamber of Commerce. Great Western Supply has been at most of our events. You have had booths at our events where you have demonstrated and shown product and other services that are available. And so I really appreciate that you doing that. Is that something that's built into the mission or the philosophy of Great Western Supply? Is that a Nicole initiative? Why are you involved?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Our company values are about educating, hard work and love and commitment, and that it extends out to our community. So it's not just to our customers and our employees, but we're very involved in community events. Charitable giving and charitable service is a big part of our mission, vision, and values. And so while partnership is not so much a charity organization, but being involved in our community is very important to the business. And it's a me thing. I am very supportive of local business and our community. And I think that it takes every person being involved to make our communities a success. They don't just happen, right? There's people like the partnership behind the scenes trying to grow our town and to the beautification projects that are going on downtown. All of these things that are happening are important. And it takes all of us working together to do that. So I appreciate the invitation to the events. They have been good for us to educate the public and also be involved in the community.
Well, good. Now, I introduced you as branch manager here in Burlington. Do you spend the most of your time in Burlington, or is there an expanded territory that you are responsible for?
There is an expanded territory. So while we are here in Burlington, we do have our storefront that is open for traffic to come in and take a look at what's on our shelf. It's right out there on Roosevelt, across from Notre Dame. But I mentioned the education and the service that we provide. So you don't usually see my face at the store. Okay. I am in and out because we meet with clients on site to develop those plans that are best for their facility. And I've mentioned briefly my background in cost reduction and lean manufacturing.
Yeah.
I am a boots on the ground type of gal. So anytime I can get through the doors of our clients and look and identify waste streams and how we can help to reduce that waste and enhance the cleanliness while we don't raise the cost, those are the projects that I like hanging around with.
Yeah. So if I'm a business and I want to get a hold of you and I want to invite you to come, without giving away any trade secrets in case you have competitors listening, of course, what can I expect? Like when Nicole walks in the door and says, "Hey, thank you for inviting me here. I'm Nicole with Great Western Supply." You open up your portfolio or whatever. What am I going to hear from you?
Well, Stephen, there are no secrets.
Okay.
I'm going to put it all out there. That's not how we do it.
Okay.
I don't like salespeople, and so I don't come in like a salesperson. I want to know what your process is. Because sometimes you have the best process and there is nothing that I can do to make it any better. And I don't want to waste your time.
Okay, good.
You might already have the best cost and the leanest process that you could have, and your building might look perfect. And I'm going to tell you that.
Okay. So I would take you for a tour and I would show you my business and you would want to know maybe the products that I'm already using.
Right.
Okay.
So I would just find out what you're using. And then what I'm looking for is what is making your day a little tougher. And here's what I often hear. Well, when we have these events going, we have to change our toilet paper so frequently and we just don't have time to go in there. Oh, okay. So you need more toilet paper in your restrooms. How can we provide that for you? And we've done several of those projects here in Burlington. Here's the other one. Most facilities are down in their labor force numbers. They don't have enough people to fill their positions, so they're busy. One of the things that we can take off their plate is the ordering of supplies. We will do a vendor managed inventory program, and I kind of want to highlight Burlington Fire Department. They're one of the places we have a very successful program.
Sure.
We walk in on a weekly basis. We've organized their shelves. They've told us how much they want to keep on hand. We've printed off these really pretty inventory tags where we've labeled their shelves. My lean manufacturing background is not coming in at all there, right?
This is very good.
So they're put on the shelves. I come in, I count their inventory, and then we schedule a delivery for only what they've used. So it replenishes their stock. They don't have to touch this project. The whole ordering of supplies, completely off their plate. One of the things when I'm calling a prospect and I want to help them with their building services and their janitorial supplies, I will ask, hey, where do you get your toilet paper? And I get this. I have no idea.
Yeah.
We don't think about it, do we? We don't think about where our toilet paper comes from when we walk into a building. It's just there. The soap is just there. We notice it when it's not. We notice when the restroom smells bad, right? It makes the whole thing, the whole experience of that building not as pleasant when the restrooms are dirty or unstocked or don't smell nice.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's what we bring to Burlington is how can we get this restroom to smell good? How can we get this lobby to smell good and look nice and create a good experience for your customers? And so that's what we do when I would meet with you. It's more, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? And I can either help you get there or you have a great program.
And if the business says, yes, we want to utilize your services, do you have a contract? Is it for a certain period of time or is it month to month? How does it operate?
No, we don't like to control how our clients buy things. I mean, you're coming to us because you see the value. Not only are you getting a good product, you're getting a good service, but we don't like to lock you into contracts, that sort of thing. Now, that being said, there are certain dispensers that you put on a wall that you do have to sign a commitment for. That's the manufacturer. That's not Great Western.
Okay.
It's a very non-committal process. It's just hey, I want to get my toilet paper and soap local. I want to get it from a trusted company that's here in town that has the good stuff. It's name brand things that we have right here in Burlington. We don't have to go to the box stores. We can support the local businesses, the employees that have kids in the school system here.
Yeah. I would imagine you have to have some sort of a trade show. There's got to be something like that you go to on whenever they occur so you can stay up to speed on the latest and the greatest in terms of products and services. Am I right?
There absolutely is. And it's so big that it's an international show. It was actually just here in North America this year. It was at Chicago at the McCormick Building.
Oh, okay.
A couple months ago.
Uh-huh.
I did not attend that one, but most of our staff did.
Yeah.
And that's the ISSA. Like with any industry, there's a standard. There's a standard for cleaning processes, how long it should take to clean each fixture or square footage. And ISSA is that governing body, and they promote the show.
All right.
But we also attend some other certification things. For example, 3 people from our company just went to Toledo, Ohio, and participated in a 3-day training event with our chemical manufacturer, and we received a certification from that event. So there are things going on that keep us in the modern times of cleaning. That's how we can bring the new technology to Burlington.
Right. Have you looked at all at your inventory and what you provide, and are you looking to expand? Or is there any part of the industry that you have not been involved with that maybe you're looking at and going, wow, I think that's the next sector that we would like to be able to provide services and get that inventory in house?
Yeah, I would like to see more equipment sales here in Burlington.
Okay.
They're a big investment, but when you take a sweeper, a walk-behind sweeper, or a ride-on floor scrubber, Burlington has really been missing out in the value of what these types of machines can do to reduce their labor hours and reduce their overall cleaning cost and enhance their cleanliness. Mm-hmm. And so that might be one area, but really Great Western, our focus is simple: towels, tissue, toilet paper, can liners, soaps, and sanitizers. We've got the maids carts, we've got all these other things, but that's really our core focus.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that expansion is really in our vision. It's more of honing in on, this is our focus. This is what we do well. This is where we help people the most.
Yeah.
So staying focused.
I know that when I was at your demonstration, and I'm gonna butcher the name of the equipment, but you had that. Was somebody writing it or were they pushing it?
Oh, we had both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was very impressed at how that machine was able to clean the dirt that was on the floor.
In fact, I'm going to start posting some before and afters on my LinkedIn page, just to show some of the warehouse floors, distribution centers, manufacturers that when you take a regular floor clean and then you run a machine next to it, it's just a really cool eye opener for how much more soil the machine can pick up off the floor.
Yeah.
And it's also matching that right chemistry too. I was at Southeastern College here not too long ago, and we had a product that was just the right fit. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing special. It just was the right product for their floor.
Yeah.
And so when I worked on that, we just did, here's a spot of cleaning with the proper chemistry. Here's an unclean, here's a clean. And we just did a couple of things, and just that contrasting difference of how much soil load is in an area is incredible.
Is there any like quick tips that you could give in terms of like even on the residential side? Is it okay to mix and match different brands, or because I don't know how many people obviously are going to actually look at the label.
Oh, they don't.
And, right? and look at the ingredients. And so most people are going to go for the cheapest, right? They're going to get, okay, this one's on sale, so I'm going to get it this time. And, oh, I'm out, I'm going to go get this one now. So are we okay doing that, or would you guard against doing that?
I would say if you're not a chemist, do not be mixing chemicals. This is dangerous. Don't do it. There's nothing wrong with residential grade chemicals that you can go get at Walmart. If you want a better value, and here's the thing, if you're going to spend money on a chemical, why are you spending elbow grease? If you want to manually clean something, don't spend the money on the chemical. But if you're buying chemical, let it do the work for you. Mm-hmm. And we would love to train you how to do that. So I guess the quick tip that I would leave is no backyard mixing. More does not mean better when it comes to chemical. Time, agitation, and chemistry. That's the secret sauce to cleaning.
Yeah. Is there a trick? I know I'm asking these fun questions. Is there a trick to dealing with mold, especially like in bathrooms? Right, that's where oftentimes we find a lot of mold.
Yeah.
Is there something special that you could help us with?
Absolutely, I can. So there's some questions that I would need to know. What kind of surface are we talking about in this restroom? Do we have porcelain, tile, ceramic, plastic? What do we have? Then we can match you up with a product and a process. Is this residential? Is this commercial? Where are we at? There's a lot that goes into it. So we can customize those solutions That's the service that we provide.
Beautiful. So to get those questions answered, how do we get a hold of Great Western Supply?
So there's a couple of ways we can do that. We're right here in Burlington. So our showroom floor at 701 South Roosevelt is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay.
And you can come in and talk to any of our certified cleaning experts.
Okay.
You could also reach us via telephone. And really, if you're wanting to set up a very customizable plan, I would recommend that you ask for a sales consultant,
Okay.
a cleaning consultant.
Yeah.
So that would be the best way to reach us.
Okay. And real quick, the phone number for the location here in Burlington.
That was almost a trick question, Stephen. 319-752-2637.
Wonderful. Well, Nicole Farrier with Great Western Supply, it's been a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for sharing all things with your business, and we wish you continued success.
Thank you for having me, Stephen. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and we thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to contact us at the Greater Burlington Partnership if you have a business that you would like to hear about, or if you have some suggestions as to future guests. So thank you again very much, and we'll see you next time on All Things Greater Burlington.
You have been listening to All Things Greater Burlington with Stephen Brody. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to catch all new episodes. To learn more about All Things Greater Burlington, visit greaterburlington.com/ATGB.